How's it going, everyone? It is Monday, October 28th, 2024. Let's go over the picks from the last video, which was VKTX. This was a day trade long off of a pullback from VWAP. So here is VKTX. So when I called out the trade over here, this was the entry. And I actually would have taken a small loss right here at the 1 o'clock candle. Now, if you held, you had a chance to scratch out the trade on the next day. This stock really had some pretty nice relative strength, so it wasn't like it was terrible. But as a day trade, this would have been a loss. So now, why did we lose this trade? Well, we got the stock right, but we got the market wrong. And here's where you have to be very nimble. So on the 25th, right, we had a gap up and go. So we're riding this move up higher. Nice produce on this bullish cross or this bullish cycle. We're actually going to get I'm going to get a play-by-play here because I think it is a little more interesting. So here's the play-by-play. Here's the setup that we're seeing. Really nice move in SPY. Here's a 1020. Here is VKTX at 1020. It is understated because of the flat open versus the gap up. That's why it's showing relative weakness, but outside of that, pretty nice move on this stock early in the morning. Now, we got this bearish cross, so we're saying, look, we got a gap and go. Let's just wait for a pullback and see what happens. So we pull back to VWAP. So far, a little bit organized, not the best, but still looking decent. Now we're finding a little bit of support here. It's still starting to produce, right? And then we're starting to leak lower. And then we're kind of getting this leak lower over here. Now, I'd want to see a double bottom, at least at this point, at 1120. And you can see how the stock is still holding up pretty well at this juncture, right? We have this 1OP bearish cycle coming up, right? So stock is by the high of the day. This is actually where I found it. We're getting this bullish divergence on the stock. Price action's a little bit choppy, but considering this organized selling, the strip lower, it's doing pretty good. So I like VKTX. Now, SPY ends up having a little bit of a sell-off, finding some support. Here is a bullish hammer. A lot of volume coming in, so we're trying to rally. Pull back to the 8 EMA, get smacked down. Find a little bit of support here, another smack down. Now we're just kind of, working off that selling pressure. Buyers are stepping in at the low of the day. And we're starting to get a little bit of liftoff. So this is a nice little buying opportunity. We're starting to get some reduction in the bullish cycle here at 1220. Now, this stock has pulled back a little bit, which is fine, right? We wanted it to pull back because of this selling pressure. We don't want to chase the high of the day. Eventually, the market's going to take a toll and pull the stock down a little bit. Now, here's a stock at 1220. Starts to rally here. We don't quite get the 1OP bullish cross. And also, the stock doesn't take off as soon as the market stalls over here, right? You see it's stalling here at pretty much at 1140 is where it starts to stall for the next 30 minutes. And here's the candle at 1140 also starts to stall. So this is a sign that it's actually losing some relative strength, but still like the setup on VKTX here. Now we're getting this breakout. We're getting a little bit of follow through on this stock. We're getting that cross. So take it at 1225, maybe even 1230. And we're saying, all right, look, now we got this bullish cycle. I'd like to see us at least get through VWAP and even potentially challenge the high of the day. Doesn't happen. Market starts to leak lower. Look at this. We're really diverging here now where this bullish cross is pretty much right where it started at 582. So we're leaking lower, and then you can see that we get this cycle, and we actually cross down right over here at 1. So you take it at, call it 80.40. You take the loss at 79.50. So about 90 cents on a stock that is 4.4, I believe that day, 4.6. So that's about as much as I would take on a win. So that was a loser, and it was a loser because stock ended up losing its relative strength to the market right at that 11, pretty much after the first 2 hours, lost that relative strength, pull back. We're looking for that gain in relative strength, and it didn't quite happen. So took the loss on this stock. Happens, but I think it was a decent entry. The warning signs for this really is to maybe take a smaller size given the stronger selling pressure. You don't have to overload on your trades. We didn't buy at the high of the day. We didn't chase. We got a good pullback entry. We timed it with our cycles, but market was not conducive, and we have kind of ended up avoiding this sell-off late in the day. Was actually a pretty nice SPY opportunity. Just as a parallel, J&J was a nice short that was setting up, so you can do this simultaneously where if this, look, we got the bearish cycle produce, bullish cycle not producing, we're hugging the low of the day, we get the breakthrough on the bearish cross. If you look at J&J at the same time, here is J&J at 105, here is SPY at 105, right? That is a really high probability setup on J&J. Here's the D1 chart. It's okay. It's not, not the best D1 chart, but it's pretty weak. We have some higher lows. We got through earnings. We're through the 50 SMA today. Nice trend day. Flat open. Didn't really rally with the market. Sold off in the first half of the day. Compressed. Got another leg lower. Compressed again. And then we're kind of joining in on this second leg right here. We have a massive bearish divergence, so bearish cycle produce, bullish cycle diverged. We're getting this cross now, new low of the day. This is a great entry point, and you can ride this trade down over here until, probably this bullish cross coming in at some point, and I would probably start to take gains at some point over here on this bullish cycle. Market is going to take a couple of tries here to whack down bearish engulf, whack down here, and then we're just starting seeing this market cycle not really doing a whole lot at that point. So J&J was a nice way where even if you took the loss on VKTX, could have made your money back. Now, other trades we were in was NVIDIA. So took it on this breakout over here. Stock pulled back to the 8 EMA test, popped up on the 25th. We had a really nice move on the open, and we were able to take a small loss on the stock. Strong move over here. Bearish cycle was holding on its own, and this stock was holding up pretty well on the bearish cycle, right? We started to get this bullish cycle, but then it really didn't end up producing a whole lot, and it started to give back some of its gains over here. So took the small loss on the CDS. Happens, but we're patient. We waited. Again, it was just a time frame thing on the stock, and the choppy price action. You want to get probably in more on the pullbacks versus the breakouts because it's going to test this all-time high here and see if it can really actually start to break through on that. So we're taking out NVIDIA, and we just have Oracle. Stock is going sideways. Calls expire at the end of the week. I am willing to give it some time because we have Megacap Tech earnings reporting, so we might get some nice move to the upside, but maybe do or die this week. We've been staying below this line. We're testing this support level right over here at 172. This stock is pretty much as good as dead, really. I'm just trying to see where is the best time to take a high probability loss, and it's very tough because it's in the slow drip lower. If you zoom out to the H1 chart or even an M30 chart, this wedge is pretty much broken. But it's in the slow drip lower, forming these higher lows, and you'd want to really get out on these bounces. Just hasn't been doing a whole lot, and the market has been doing a whole lot. So that's what we got it wrong. So got this breakout on the entry over here. We ended up picking a top by accident, which is always never great. Got in at the end of the move when really the best part is to get in a lot earlier in that move. On the initial breakout of that compression would be a lot better, closer to 172. And then you could ride the move up higher, take profits on the double top. So yeah, we're kind of a death by 1,000 cuts on Oracle. But the good thing is we didn't overload on a whole bunch of bullish swings. We just took the positions when we did, and that is what it is. So Oracle probably going to take the loss, but we're going to see what happens with Google, Microsoft, Meta, AMD also coming out this week. We may see some positive reactions in the market. We may see some buying, and that might give us a nice pop to take kind of our losses on. Okay, so let's zoom into what is going on in the market. So, really big week in terms of news and information events. We have mega cap tech earnings coming out, as well as a lot of major tech earnings or just earnings in general. Stocks like Amgen, AMD, even, I mean, Redis not huge because it's a new IPO, but that's also coming out this week. We have economic data, so we have all the jobs stuff. Unemployment is coming out on Friday, so we have ADP on Wednesday. We have JOLTS tomorrow. We have jobless coming out on Thursday. We also have GDP coming out this week. We have PCE coming out on Thursday. ISM manufacturing coming out on Friday. Tomorrow, we even have consumer confidence and stuff like that is a minor release, but still adds on to the pile. So lots of information coming out this week. And then the week after, we have our FOMC decision. We also have the election results coming out on the 5th. So, for the next week, we will be lying pretty low. Not a whole lot going on. I think there will be some nice opportunities to day trade. I'm personally not looking to take a lot of swing trades right now. I'm lying low. The market has been fairly anemic since this move, pretty much since the middle of April or middle of September. Just kind of floating up higher, light volume. Here's a little breakout that we could have entered. Here's a little move we could have entered, but really not a whole lot going on for the market. And, we're just staying pretty light. So we have certain times where we can get in our swing trades and ride them higher and get some nice profits, and other times where we have to lay low and we can't be as aggressive in those periods. Longer term, again, we are bullish fundamentally and technically. The economy still looks good. Unemployment's still low. GDP is going to give us some more info today. The Fed has started the rate cut process. We're going to reevaluate what those expected rates are going to be. Maybe after the end of this week. I'm not sure how much they're going to change this week or not. They may be fairly resistant to all this news, and that path may be a little bit more predetermined based on prior Fed rhetoric. But we're going to wait and see, and I'm probably going to take a look at that maybe on Friday and see how that looks. Now, on a shorter term basis for SPY, let's look at an M30 chart over here. We made this new all-time high. So we're at a nice move higher. We got the first chink in the armor, found some support, gap up, new all-time high, bearish engulfing handle, kind of just chopping around here. Drop this anchored VWAP at the all-time high. You can see how we're kind of reacting over there. We also have probably, let me see, a good anchored VWAP that I can draw here. And, you can just drop these on a couple and see where they come into play. They come into play probably at the first pullback level. So if I were to just drop these on these lows, you can see here, right, breakout, come and test it, we pop back up, breakout, come and test it, pop back up. So I think on these relative lows and highs, it could be a little interesting. So I just drop one on this relative high right here. And if I were to move it right there, right, you can see how we're kind of, kind of testing it a little bit. It's pretty short term. So I think it only really matters for, day trades and short term swings. But yeah, so that is kind of what we're seeing. Also, always the AVWAP-Q is pretty important because it anchors to these big events. So a lot of these will kind of lose their relevancy if it's below other kind of TA. So this anchor VWAP that I just deleted below the 50 SMA, not super worried about that. 50 SMA is going to be more important in my opinion. This candle, maybe provide some support over here, some higher lows. They also can line up with certain trend lines as well. So sometimes they just confirm other types of support resistance. If you also look at the prior high, right, this prior high acted as support and also line up with the anchored VWAP from this level here. So I find them useful sometimes, not all the time. If they end up kind of telling me the same information, or they kind of line up with the same price point, it just kind of increases the importance of that price point. So for example, I know that this low at around 574.50, okay, that's a decent price level, right? Like that is fairly important. So zooming into this shorter term time frame, over here. You can see we're just kind of chopping around. We had this sell off and then being a selling climax over here. Take the gains, trade to the upside, gap up, gap and go, take the gains, test the downside, find some support, take the gains. So we're just like, we kind of test one side. We don't make any progress. We test the other side. So pretty terrible for a lot of swing trades unless it's like an overnight swing or something. So either you have to be really patient or really nimble, but I'm not particularly excited to do either one of those things. I'd rather just kind of not trade this and, pick my spots on certain day trades. So zooming into the M5 chart for today, SPY has pretty much done nothing. We got a gap up, tested the bid, found some support here. We try to rally up higher, and this 1030 bar is the key. If we were able to break through this high, we could maybe get something going and have maybe a weak bullish trend day. We got a little bit of selling pressure. We got another bounce from the low of the day right over here at 11 o'clock. Green solo faded, and then we made a new low of the day. And then at the new low of the day, no follow through, bounce, fade, bounce, fade, bounce. We're going over here, and now we're starting to roll over. Volume is very, very low. Just a whole lot, just not really going on, and this is a good day to not trade. So I really don't have any picks of the day right now. It's too late in the day. There's not really a whole lot going on in SPY. I don't want to take any swings, so no picks for today. I will point out a couple of stocks that, how I would search for picks. So one of my first search, you can look at the long side or the short side, and I'm looking for stocks with a ton of volume and a ton of volatility. So I'm just going to go through the list here, see if we can find some nice stocks. Ton of volume, ton of volatility. NKLA has to get through the 50 SMA. SMR was pretty nice today. So you can see I want R vol above 1.2, volatility above 100%. But look at this stock, right? If you get in, stock dies after the first 2 hours. Doesn't really do anything, right? It's not weak. It's still holding the bid. We still could get something going, but we're getting no help from the market. So a lot of stocks here are dying on the vine. This is decent. Not the best D1 chart, but it's made a really big move today. Broke through that 200 SMA. Again, now it's just compressing, right, after the first 2 hours. So you'd want to get a stock that is, maybe either compressing and breaks out of that compression. Same thing with this stock. Here's IREN. There's HUT. Maybe you can get in on the pullback over there. There's some D1 levels coming into play. Yeah, it's okay. It's not really the best. It's kind of a weird D1, but a lot of nice volume over here. Here's our pullback. Here is our benign bearish cycle here. Can ride that up. Really, actually, this is a pretty nice setup here. Bull cycle produce, divergence, and then the next one produces, get some nice profits over there, but not one I would trade. There's a lot of TA in the way. We look at some of the tags here that I had tagged earlier today and see how I would have traded them. But I'm just looking for stocks with volume, volatility, and that I could enter in on a pullback. So SMR, IRN. Wendy's was a decent one. Right, so big move here, made a pullback, started to find some support. Today, we had a nice green candle, grinded up higher. Now pulled back earlier in the day, support, right? Support, the retests, break through that 8 EMA. We have our 1OP bullish cross here, able to ride that up and take some decent gains here. I don't know, maybe like 10 cents or something, even 15 cents, not too bad. So Wendy's is a decent one. IONQ has been pretty much on a rampage for a while. Stock has gone parabolic. You can see here just a ton of volume coming in on the stock, and bit of a trickier stock to trade. Looks like there was a move you could have taken here, but not the most common move. But if you took it on this bullish cross over here, at around 1720. You got another test of support right here. So this held. Maybe use this as your stop. Test of support, find some follow through over here, and then you can ride that move up higher and take some gains. But not a huge fan of that because of this red candle over here, red candle over here. So it's pretty choppy stock. And it's not, I don't know, it's not something that I would be super comfortable trading. It's not the easiest price action to trade. A couple other ones that we'll take a look here. ARM. It's just there's too much shit in the way here. Like, look at all this stuff on ARM. I guess I broke through that low minus, so that maybe no longer valid here. Broke through that. Yeah, just a ton of TA in that space. AAL. Gap up. It's kind of getting faded a little bit. Key. Let's look at CMG. That has earnings this week. That's the other thing, too. There's so many stocks that have earnings. You got to be really careful. I mean, this is a nice breakout in the stock. Nice breakout. Pull back over here. I mean, broke VWAPs. Some nice long red candles. I'm not crazy about getting in on that stock. Not crazy about that at all. So, yeah, you can see how, not trading. I didn't really miss a ton of opportunities. Let's look at space. I mean, this stock has been beaten to the ground here. I had to do a reverse stock split. MSTR. Other things coming up this week as well. Yeah, I guess it had this move test, and it's starting to grind up slowly. This bullish cycle produced, so maybe you can take like a move from here, 249 to 252. You can take a couple of bucks. So there's some like small wins you can hear, some hit and run wins, but really not a lot going on. Bearish side, if I look at a couple here, nothing crazy. Maybe CNC. This stock is, huge gap up from earnings and filling in that gap. Yeah, this stock is crazy, absolutely crazy. That's would have been a really nice trade here on the 25th. That would have probably been your trade of the day. Made a move over here. You get your bearish cross right here. Yeah, diverging. Test. Starts to leak over. Not really doing a whole lot. So, yeah, there's just not a ton here. You're really just scrapping and you're scraping. NLY, couple on the bearish side. Yeah, again, same deal, right? First half of the day, you get the move here. Maybe you get it on the breakout over here, and this is your move. And you can take some gains, but then it just dies. A lot of these stocks, they've just died after the first half of the day. So, anyways, those are a couple picks. These are even some of the best candidates here, right? This is a nice D1 breakdown post earnings. We got some room to technical support over here. Just not enough market tailwind to really get anything going. So that's it for today, everyone. No picks. We're going to keep it light. We're going to see what happens this week and see if we can take some nice day trade wins throughout this week and evaluate the price action to see if a great swing trading opportunity ends up setting up next week. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I will take a look at how our picks are doing in tomorrow's video.